you looking for from Trevor Lawrence and company?
I need Trevor Lawrence's second progression throw to look like his first progression read. When number one is there, Trevor throws it as good as anybody. But still looking for the consistency of, I go to number one and I set to number one and he's not there and he gets to number two, which is the right read. I want the throw to look like he's the number one read, meaning I want it to come out with consistency. I want it to come out with conviction. I need the ball placement to be premier. This is a defense in LA that it's going to give you completions. It's not an overly aggressive one. They play with the proper leverage, but they're not an incredibly attacking one. And when Trevor has to kind of move his feet or kind of get to that second or third progression, mentally you can tell he's getting there. I need physically it to match as well.
Yeah, and for that to even happen, they got to do a better job protecting Trevor than they did against Seattle. And for me, against this particular defense, that really starts with handling the Rams' 5-man rush, which has been really good all year and was excellent, I thought, against the Ravens. Look here, you got Josiah Stewart lined up inside Jared Verse. So Jared Goff gets a one-on-one versus the tackle to force the incompletion. They use this constantly to get one-on-ones. Here, they're showing an all-out blitz, but then the two edge rushers drop into coverage. So this time, Cam Curl gets a one-on-one, and Cooper Rush goes running. Finally, this is just a 4-man presentation, but they're going to add on a backer in this case, and once again, you get that one-on-one for Jared Verse. When the Rams rush 5 pass rushers this year, they are getting pressure 52% of the time, which is the 4th highest rate in football. And that is something in particular that Jacksonville is going to have to worry about in this game because it's so successful. Yeah, let's take,
Dan Man.
Mina, do you like when they have Verse inside, though, and that stuff? Or, like, do you prefer him on the – I think it's better, much better, and he's much better when he stays on the outside.
Yes.
Yeah, I prefer him on the outside, too. As you saw, like, on those plays, he's able to use both his speed and his power, speed to power in those situations. So I like it because it crashes the pocket, and he's so good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to take a look at our picks. It's really interesting because we're starting the show the right way on Friday. Even split down the middle.
Good,
good. RC and I are on the Rams.
I like it.
Dan and Mina on the – yeah, how come the Rams? Real quick, RC.
No, I just think that Sean McVay is going to figure out a way to find ways to score, and I still don't believe in Trevor Lawrence fully, and the Rams front has made this team so opportunistic to me in the way that they pressure the quarterback.
Something crazy about the Eagles offense. Last year, in 2024, they ran the RPO 16 times. This year, they've run it 10. This is a team that in 2023 ran it 300 times, 200 times. The RPO has gone away from this offense.
Wow, that's because he's so comfortable that way. All right, so again, one of the many mysteries about the Eagles, when we look on the other side of the ball, when the Vikings are on offense, what's the most important matchup, Dan?
I would live in 11 personnel this week if I was Minnesota. In Minnesota, it's not necessarily who exactly they are. They middle of the pack when it comes to putting those 11 personnel people, 3 wide receivers on the field. But Philadelphia defensively is a bottom 5 defense if you do so. They've given up 11 touchdowns facing 11 personnel.
Terrible.
For me, it's Justin Jefferson and Addison. It's all about how do I use Justin and how do I use Addison. And if I can get one of those 2 guys on anybody really but Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean, we should have a ton of success throwing the football. And so as much as I love Minnesota's 12 personnel when they put their 2 tight ends in the field, this week I think it's an 80%, 11 personnel matchup or plan game-wise, and I would make Philadelphia play to their weakness, which is having those 3 or 4 corners on the field.
Dan, I love that. And I love the fact that you mentioned Addison and Jefferson because the matchup isn't in the slot. The matchup is going to be outside, opposite Quinyon Mitchell. And it's going to be schematically, what do we see from Vic Fangio's defense early? A few days ago or a week ago, we watched Quinyon Mitchell on the sideline with a hamstring. And so is he going to track number 1 in Justin Jefferson, or is he just going to play one side of the field? Because if he does, and we know exactly where to go each and every play, they should get a heavy dose of Jordan Addison or of Justin Jefferson on the outside because they are so susceptible and vulnerable.
All right, guys, as we look at our picks here,
What do we got?
How am I the only one on the Vikings? Because I listened to you guys breaking down all the Eagles' issues, and I'm like, the Vikings are at home. They're going to beat them.
Santa.
Well,
That's how.
you
know
be
what?
respectful to Carson Wentz. No,
Oh, you knew that was coming. You knew that was coming. Okay.
ride the roller coaster, man.
Some notable injuries, by the way, ahead of the Commanders and the Cowboys on Sunday in Dallas. Terry McLaurin will be out for a 4th straight game. We still don't really have any definitive word yet on Deebo Samuel, and actually the same can be said for CeeDee Lamb. As we mentioned, that Diggs injury popped up today. He's out Sunday. Here's Dallas head coach Brian Schottenheimer with more.
Trayvon Diggs came in this morning with some concussion symptoms after having an accident at his home. He's been checked out by our doctors and is in the protocol and will miss the game.
Okay, very strange set of circumstances for this injury, RC, but they're already just flat out terrible this season. Now no Diggs. What does that mean?
Times when you're hanging Halloween decorations on your house, those ladders can get slippery. No, I'm just joking about something I probably shouldn't be. But I think the thing about this is Reddy Stewart has played a ton in the slot for this team. And on the outside, we've seen a lot of Deron Bland and Kyer Elam. And so you're going to see those things as well. I think the big thing for the Dallas Cowboys is, like, can you stop the run first to even get to the point to where your cornerbacks and your secondary and your defensive backs are involved in this game? When you think about Bill Krosky-Merritt and what we've seen for him throughout this year, he didn't have that sort of impact on the game against the Chicago Bears, and I expect that they'll come in watching that film from last week and say to themselves, that's where we have to get going, which would allow Jaden Daniels opportunities to carve up that back end, because we know the rush of the Dallas Cowboys isn't what it could have been after making the trade of Micah Parsons.
Yep, it all goes back to that. All right, so let's talk about the Dallas offense. They're going to have to carry the day as usual. What are you looking for?
It's a great offense until it gets to the red zone, and then it's an average offense. If the Cowboys are going to matter this season with as bad of a defense they are, they're going to have to be a lot better in the red zone. I think they got to throw it a lot more in the red zone. Just look at where Dak ranks and where this offense is. Outside of the red zone on the right side, they're top 5. Inside the red zone, they're bottom 3rd. And so if they want to score enough points to protect this defense, that's number 1. Number 2, I keep saying this, and I'm being dead serious. I cross the 50 if I'm Dallas offensively, and it's 4th or 5 or less, I'm going for it. I'm not kicking field goals anymore because it does nothing for my football team to actually help us win the game.
Yes.
It just gets Brandon Aubrey points. Go for it.
Yeah,
That's the analytics Mina likes.
No.
Oh, there it is.
Whoa.
Mina. Wow.
Yeah, it's a party.
Bubbles.
It's a party. It's a party. It's a party.
That's what it's going to feel
Yeah.
like when both these teams are on offense. Both of these coaches needs to be aggressive as hell in this game. I'm with Dan. Passing in the red zone, too, when things get tight. I don't think Washington has people who can cover both CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. But between the 20s, I do think they'll be able to run the ball really well on Washington. What we saw last week against Chicago was alarming off tackle, particularly when they got them moving from side to side. I think we're going to see a return to form for Javonte Williams, especially with CeeDee Lamb on the field, because Washington's going to have to play more coverage in this.
All right, hey, let's set those fireworks off, because this is our first unanimous pick of the day. And it's our first gong. I'm proud of us, though, you guys. We are like 40
I'm
minutes
so
through
disgusted
the
with
show.
Dan and this score.
Yeah, you know his score thing.
Oh, Dan.
You know his
Come
score
on,
thing
Dan.
is the thing with me. I'll double it. Just
Dan.
you can double it for people. You can double
Oh, man, 20 to
Dan.
17 all day, every day. I know.
2017
exactly.
every game, man. Every
Exactly,
game.
RC.
I think the Cowboys could win this. I don't love
But
this.
we picked the
Yeah,
Commanders.
I think they could win
know
it,
I
and we
did.
all have it close. But like, they're just so bad on defense.
Close doesn't matter to
So
social
bad.
media managers, Ryan.
You guys, we're
That's
like
true.
qualifying everything.
That's true.
They're terrorists.
Yeah, no one will stand on anything today.
Oh my God.
This is a team that runs off the tackle really well offensively. That's something the Chargers defensively struggled big time with against Miami. So specific to the game, those are things that Daniel and that offense can have success with.
I mean, listen, it doesn't hurt to have a guy like Jonathan Taylor sharing the backfield with you, Mina. How do you see him matching up against that Chargers defense?
I think he is the most important player on the Colts side in this game, in part because of what Dan said. The Chargers defense is very good, but they do struggle with off-tackle runs. They also play a very high amount of light boxes, and Jonathan Taylor, when he's running into six-man boxes this year, is averaging 6.4 yards per carry. But the other side is I think the Chargers defense is really good at defending some of the things that the Colts do well. Play action, yards after the catch, the middle of the field. So in my mind, running isn't just part of it. It's the most important part of their offense. I am interested in seeing, by the way, how the return of Khalil Mack impacts things, potentially, if he plays for LA, because I think he's been not only important to their ability to get pressure with Ford, but also their run defense. He's a very good run defender. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor, to me, is the key to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. If you look at the last 2 weeks, what Bill Krosky-Merritt was able to do, averaging 8 yards per carry, and then you come back the next week and we see the exact same thing from Devon Achane, then you know that Jonathan Taylor is going to be the focal point and priority of this offense. But what I've loved about Daniel Jones is his aggression in the play action.
Yeah.
Once Jonathan Taylor gets things going downhill, and the way that they utilize delayed releases by Tyler Warren on those play action passes, short crossers, stacks, the way he's attacked the seam, it all starts with this run game. And this run game is so diverse. It's physical, right? It attacks you on the edges. It can give you big plays and dynamic plays down the field, but he's also earned the tough yards. He's shown this year that he's the total running back, and what Shane Steichen and Daniel Jones have been able to do off of these run sets, quarterback under center, back in the queue, I think has truly put defenses in a tough spot of figuring out how they're going to attack Daniel Jones and this offense.
Yeah, RC, I would tell you the ending of that game last week against the Cardinals is probably the most important so far this season, because we've talked about it. This past week was the first time that Daniel Jones didn't look like he has so far this season. The interception should have been another interception. He didn't blink. He didn't go into the tank. He didn't become conservative with the football after that. Like, he had two massive drives at the end of that game. Being aggressive like you're talking about with the football, that's a great sign.
Listen, early on in that game, he throws the interception to Mack Wilson on the boot, but there's a late throw down the seam to Alec Pierce where he puts it on his back shoulder here, where Mac Jones absolutely had a chance. I love the fact that he didn't paralyze himself by the earlier mistake and continue to be aggressive, because that's the only way they win that game against the Chargers.
All right, let's get to our picks. No, all good. Mina is the only one on the Chargers. And what is
She lives in California.
Who's that little person there that's next to your pick?
That's Joe Alt, the Chargers left tackle. I think he's going to play in this game. The Colts defense drops from 6 to 26 in success rate when they don't get pressure, and Joe Alt is that important to this Chargers offensive line. So if he plays, I'm rolling with LA, but if he doesn't play, I reserve the right to switch my pick.
I'm not a graphic.
No.
That's the smallest Joe Alt has ever been. Joe Alt ain't been that small in his life. They some glasses.
You gotta keep him there, Mina. Sorry, we gotta lock
like
that
Joe
pick.
Alternate.
I had just seen this from Mina. She was just so happy about something that Dan said. It was just happy fireworks. But Mina, I hate to bring you back down to earth, girl, because your guy, the Chargers are listing Joe Alt as doubtful for Sunday's game against the Colts. Look at little Joe. He appears once more on our program.
Little Joe.
Mina, does this mean you're changing your pick now?
Yes, I am changing my pick. 2 thumbs down. Do not like this move. I'm going to the Colts, and I trust that everybody respects the caveat I applied the first time around.
I don't know.
Because I think he's that important. I do. I think he's so important to this Charger. Have you guys watched the Chargers offensive line lately? Come on.
No, we have. Believe me. Mina, I think you're setting a dangerous precedent here. Fred Warner out for the season. So when you look at that Falcons offense, how do you expect them to game plan given that?
I think they'll lean into a lot of the things they already do, some of the things that Tampa did when Fred Warner went out. One is just using motion to force the back end of that defense to communicate. Tampa, I talked about this cranked up their use of motion. Atlanta uses motion already at the snap, specifically at the highest rate in football. They use it both in the run and the pass, and I think San Francisco is going to struggle with that in their zone defense. And then something I would like to see that's a little bit different, but something we saw against Buffalo, Michael Penix Jr. throwing over the middle of the field. You know, going into that game against the Bills, he threw over the middle of the field, meaning between the numbers, just 50% of the time, which is the lowest rate of any quarterback in football. But against the Bills, recognizing that was a weakness, cranked that up to 62.5%, which is much more in line with the average. Love to see that against San Francisco again this week. In-breakers to Drake London remain my favorite thing that this Atlanta does outside of Bijan Robinson, and I would think they'll be very successful if they lean into that against San Francisco without Fred Warner.
Going forward, Chris, I'd like to draw straws on who gets to go last, because going last on this show sucks tremendously. Like, by the time you get to go, you don't even have no point. They're going to be like, oh, Dan and Mina already said that, so you're just saying what they say. But I agree with Mina. What I did love about last week's game was the connection between Michael Penix Jr. and Drake London inside the numbers, or necessarily in between the numbers and the hash. And when you don't have a guy like a Fred Warner, who's such a great dropper, who plays so instinctively, you have to attack that. But that all starts with Bijan Robinson as well. Dan did a great job weeks ago talking about how they need, or how they can utilize the pistol formation and not be under center and get to play action pass. And I know he might have got a call or something or another. I was down there this weekend. But I mean, when you look at what they've been able to do, or what's happened going forward, they need to attack this game the same way they did against the Buffalo Bills.
It was a good call. It was a good phone call. You know, it was a good phone call. We were able to have a mature adult
call with this pick, though.
This is what I don't get. You called the Falcons win, and you're picking the 49ers. Okay, I don't get that.